sent me go to face monotony. He exercises of his brains, that is, assuming that he's got any. Never nurtured in the lap of luxury, yet I admonish you, I am an intellectual chap, and think of things that would astonish you. I often think it's comical, fa-la-la, fa-la-la. Nature always does contrive, fa-la-la-la, that every boy and every gal that's born into the world alive is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. Fa-la-la, fa-la-la, is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. Fa-la-la. House MPs divide. If they've a brain and cerebellum too, they've got to leave that brain outside and vote just as their leaders tell them to. And then the prospect of a lot of dull MPs in close proximity, of thinking for themselves is what no man can face with equanimity. Then let's rejoice with la 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 la. Nature always does contrive la la, that every boy and every gal that's born into the world alive is either a little liberal or else a little conservative. Is either a little liberal or else a little conservative.
You seem protege of yours is playing the deuce with everything. Tonight is the second reading of his bill to throw the peerage open to competitive examination.
And he'll carry it, too.
He'll carry it, of course he will. He's a parliamentary Neil. He carries everything.
Oh, yes, if you please. It's our fault.
Deuce it is.
Yes, we influence the members and compel them to vote just as he wishes them to.
It's our system. It shortens the debates. We call it peer pressure.
Well, but think what it all means. I don't so much mind for myself, but with a house of peers, without any grandfathers worth mentioning, why, the country must go to the dogs.
Oh, I suppose it must.
I don't want to say a word against brains. I have a good arrangement to respect for brains. I sometimes wish I had some myself. But with a house of peers composed exclusively of persons of intellect, what is to become of the House of Commons? I say, what?
Oh, I never thought of that.
Well, this comes of women interfering in politics. It so happens that if there is an institution in Great Britain which is not susceptible to any improvement at all, it is the House of Peers. When Britain really ruled the waves in good Queen Bess's time, the House of Peers made no pretense to intellectual eminence and scholarship sublime. Yet Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days. Yet Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days. Yes, Britain won her proudest days in good Queen Bess's glorious days. When Wellington thrashed a Bonaparte, as every child can tell, the House of Peers throughout the war did nothing in a particular, and did it very well. Yet Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. Yet Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. Yes, Britain set the world ablaze in good King George's glorious days. And while the House of Peers withholds its legislative hand, and noble statesmen do not itch to interfere with the matters which they do not understand. And bright will shine Great Britain's rays, as in King George's glorious days. As bright will shine Great Britain's rays, as in King George's glorious days. As bright will shine Great Britain's rays, as in King George's glorious days.
Charming persons are they?
Distinctly, for self-contained dignity combined with airy condescension give me a British representative peer.
Then, pray tell, stop this protege before it's too late. Think what all the mischief you're creating.
Oh, but we can't stop him now. Oh, charming aren't they? Oh, why did you go and defiance, you great geese? In May do as you please. Don't go. Your prayers we do not heed. Don't go. It's true we sigh, but don't suppose the tearful life forgiveness shows. Oh no, we're very cross indeed. Yes, very cross. Don't go. It's true we sigh, but don't suppose
Phyllis, B Company, 1st Grenadier Guards.
You're a very fine fellow, sir.
I am generally admired.
I can quite understand it. Now here's a man whose physical attributes are simply godlike. That man has the most extraordinary effect upon me. Well, if I yielded to a natural inclination, I should fall down and worship that man. But I mortify this inclination. I wrestle with it, and it lies beneath my feet. That is how I treat my regard for that man. Oh, foolish faith, think you because his manly way my bosom thaws, I disobey our fairy laws, although I seem a fairy true. I often dream, as mortals do, of love's redeeming super glue, of love's redeeming super glue. Oh, super glue, love's bond that none can sever. This heart of mine is soft as thine, but will not break forever.
Oh, super glue, love's bond that none can sever.
This heart of mine is soft as thine, but will not break forever. On fire that glows with heat intense, I turn the hose of common sense, and out it goes at small expense. We must not fail steadfast to be, lest fate assail us and we see our fairy tales on MTV. Our fairy tales on MTV. Oh, MTV, the mirror of our nation. My heart's remote I shall devote to try to change your station.
Oh, MTV, the mirror of our nation.
My heart's remote I shall devote to try to change your station.
I can't think of why I'm not in better spirits. I'm engaged to two noblemen at once. That should be enough to make any girl happy, but I'm miserable. And don't think it's because I care for Strutman, for I hate him.
Phyllis, my darling.
Don't
Phyllis, my own.
dare you. But perhaps you're the two noblemen I'm engaged to.
I am one of them, and I am the other.
My darling! Oh, my own! Well, have you settled which it's to be?
Not exactly. It's a difficult position. It would be hardly difficult to
toss up. On the whole, we'd rather leave it to you.
Well, how can it possibly concern me? You are both earls, and you are both rich, and you are both plain.
Well, perhaps we are. At least I am.
Oh, I am also.
No.
I am indeed very plain.
Oh, well, perhaps you are.
Oh, well, I think that if one of you should forego his title and distribute his estates among his Irish tenantry, why then I might see reason for choosing the other.
Torla, are you prepared to make the sacrifice?
No.
Not even to oblige a lady?
No, not even to oblige a lady.
Well, then the only question is, which of us should give way to the other? Perhaps on the whole she'd be happy with me. I don't know. I may be wrong.
No, I don't think you are. I think she would be happier with you. But the awkward part of the thing is that if you rob me of the girl of my heart, then we must fight, and one of us must die. It's a family tradition that I have sworn to respect. It's a painful position, for I have a strong regard for you, George.
My dear Thomas.
You are very dear to me, George. We were boys together. At least I was. And if I was to survive, if I was to live longer than you, my existence would be hopelessly embittered.
Well, then, my dear Thomas, you must not do it. I say it again and again. If it will have this effect on you, you must not do it. No. If one of us is to destroy the other, let it be me.
No.
By a boyish friendship, I implore you.
Very well, be it so. But no. I cannot consent to an act which would crush you with unavailing remorse.
But it would not do so. Oh, I should be very sad at first. Oh, who would not be? But it would wear off. I like you very much, but not perhaps as much as you like me.
Oh, George. You are a noble fellow. But that telltale tear betrays you. No, George, you are very fond of me. And I cannot consent to an act which would give you a week's unhappiness on my account.
But, dear Thomas, it would not last a week. Remember, you head the House of Lords, and on your demise, I shall take your place. Oh, Thomas, it would not last a day.
Now, I do hope that you're not going to fight over me, because it really isn't worthwhile.
Well, I don't think it is.
Nor I. The sacred ties of friendship are paramount.
Though perhaps I may incur your blame, for things are few I would not do in friendship's name.
And I may say, I think the same. Not even love should rank above true friendship's name.
Then free me, pray me, mind the blame. Forget your craze and go your ways in friendship's name. In friendship's name.
Oh, many a man in friendship's name has yielded fortune, rank, and fame, but nowhere else in the world so wide has yielded up the promised bride.
Accept, O friendship, all the same.
The sacrifice to thy dear name. Accept this sacrifice to thy dear name.
unrequited robs me of my rest. Love, hopeless love, my ardent soul encumbers. Love, nightmare-like, lies heavy on me chest, and weaves itself into my midnight slumber. When you're lying awake with a dismal headache and repose is tabooed by anxiety, I conceive you may use any language you choose to indulge in without impropriety. For your brain is on fire, the bedclothes conspire of usual slumber to plunder you. First your counterpane goes and uncovers your toes, and your sheets slip demurely from under you. Then the blanketing tickles, you feel like mixed pickles, so terribly sharp is the pricking. And you're hot and you're cross and you tumble and toss till there's nothing twixt you and the ticking. Then the bedclothes all creep to the ground in a heap, and you pick 'em all up in a tangle. Next your pillow resigns and politely declines to remain at its usual angle. Will you get some repose in the form of a doze with hot eyeballs and head ever aching? But your slumbering teems with such horrible dreams that you very much better be waking. You dream you are crossing the channel and tossing about in a steamer from Harwich, which is something between a large bathing machine and a very small second-class carriage. And you're giving a treat, penny ice and cold meat, to a party of friends and relations. They're a ravenous horde, and they all came on board at Sloane Square and South Kensington stations. And bound on that journey, you find your attorney, who started that morning from Devon. He's a bit undersized, and you don't feel surprised when he tells you he's only 11. Well, you're driving like mad with this singular lad, by the by this you now a four-wheeler. And you're playing round games, and he calls you bad names when you tell him that ties pay the dealer. But this you can't stand, so you throw up your hand, and you find you're as cold as an icicle. In your shirt and your socks, the black silk with gold clocks, crossing Salisbury Plain on a bicycle. And he and the crew are on bicycles too, which they've somehow or other invested in. And he's telling the tars all the particulars of a company he's interested in. It's a scheme of devices to get at low prices, all goods from cough mixtures to cables, which tickle the sailors by treating retailers as though they were all vegetables. You get a good spadesman to plant a small tradesman, first take off his boot with a boot tree, and his legs will take root and his fingers will shoot, and they'll blossom and bud like a fruit tree. From the greengrocer tree you get grapes and green pea, cauliflower, pineapple and cranberries, while the pastry could plant cherry brandy, will grand apple puffs and 3-corners and banberries. The shares are a penny and ever so many are taken by Rothschild and Baring, and just as a few are allotted to you, you awake with a shudder despairing. You're a regular wreck with a crick in your neck, and no wonder you snore, for your head's on the floor, and you've needles and pins from your soles to your shins, and your flesh is a creep, cause your left leg's asleep, and you cramp in your toes, and a fly on your nose, there's a flop in your lung, and a feverish tongue, and a thirst that's intense in a general sense that you haven't been sleeping in clover. But the darkness has passed, and it's daylight at last, and the night has been long, ditto, ditto, my song. And thank goodness they're both of them over.
I am much distressed to see your lordship in this condition.
Oh, my lord. It is seldom that a Lord Chancellor has reason to envy the position of another, but I am free to confess that I would rather be 2 earls engaged to Phyllis than any other half-dozen noblemen upon the face of the globe.
Well, that's an enviable position when you're the only one.
Ah, yes, most enviable, no doubt. At the same time, seeing your lordship thus, we naturally say to ourselves, this is very sad. His lordship is constitutionally as blithe as a bird. He twits upon the bench like a thing of song and gladness. His series of judgments, and that shot given at Dante in 6/8 time, are among the most remarkable effects ever produced before a court of chancery. He is perhaps the only living instance of a judge whose decrees have received the honor of a double encore. How can we bring ourselves to do that, which would deprive a court of chancery of one of the most attractive features? I say, how?
I feel the force of your remarks, but I am here in 2 capacities, and they clash, my lord, they clash. I deeply grieve to say that in declining to entertain my last application to myself, I presume to address myself in terms which render it impossible for me ever to apply to myself again. It was a most painful scene, my lords, most painful.
This is what it is to have two capacities. Let us be thankful that we are persons of no capacity whatever.
Oh, come. You are a very just and kindly old gentleman, and need have no hesitation in approaching yourself, so that you do so respectfully and with a proper show of deference.
Do you really think so?
I do.
Well, then I will nerve myself to another effort. And if that fails, I resign myself to my fate.
Well, it's time for a song.
If you go in, you're sure to win. Yours will be the charming maid. Be your law, the ancient saw. Fate hath never won, fair lady. Never, never, never. Fate hath never won, fair lady. Every journey has an end, when at the worst affairs will mend. Dark the dawn when day is nigh. Hustle your horse and don't say die. He who shies at such a prize is not worth a copper penny. Be so kind to bear in mind, faint heart never won, fair lady. Never, 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 faint heart never won, fair lady. Healthy sunshine makes your hay, where the will is there's a way. More than lion in his lair, none but the brave deserve the fair.
I'll take heart and make a start, though I fear the prospect shady. Much I'd spend to gain my end. Faint heart never won, fair lady. Never, never, never. Faint heart never won, fair lady. Nothing ventured, nothing in. Blood is thick, but water's thin. In for a penny, in for a pound. It's love that makes the world go round. Nothing ventured, nothing in. Blood is thick, but water's thin. In for a penny, in for a pound. It's love that makes the world go round.
I suppose one ought to enjoy oneself in Parliament when one leads both parties as I do. But I'm miserable. Poor, broken-hearted fool that I am. My bill has now been read a second time. His ready vote no member now refuses. In verity I will the part sublime, and one that I can turn to mighty uses. What joy to carry in the very teeth of ministry cross-benched in opposition some rather urgent measures right beneath the ken of patriot and politician. Hold your flapping wings, soaring legislature. Stoop to little things, stoop to human nature. Never need to roam. Members patriotic, let's begin at home. Crime is no exotic, bitter is tipsy lout gathered from the gutter. Hustle him about, strap him to a shutter. What am I but he? Washed at our stated, fed on filigree, clothed and educated. He's a mark of scorn. I might be another if I had been born of a tipsy mother. Take a wretched thief through the city sneaking, pocket handkerchief ever seeking. What am I but he, robbed of all my chances, picking pockets by force and circumstances. I might be as bad, as unlucky rather, if I only had Fagin for a father. Oh, Phyllis, Phyllis.
Yes.
Phyllis! Oh, but I suppose I should say, my lady, I have not yet been informed what title your ladyship is pleased to select.
Oh, well, I haven't quite decided. You see, I have no mother to advise me.
No, I have.
Yes, a young one.
Oh, not very, a couple of centuries or so.
Oh, she wears well.
She does, she's a fairy.
I beg your pardon. A fairy?
Well, I've no longer any reason to conceal the fact from you. She's a fairy.
Oh, well, this would account for a great many things that I suppose you're a fairy?
Oh, half a fairy.
Oh. Which half?
Oh, the upper half, down to the waistcoat.
Oh, oh dear me. Oh, there's certainly nothing to show for it.
Don't
Oh.
do that.
Oh, why didn't you tell me this before?
Oh, I thought you would take a dislike to me, but since it's all off, you may as well know the truth. I'm also only half mortal.
Well, I'd rather have half a mortal I do love than have a dozen I don't.
Oh, I think not. Go to your half dozen.
It's only two and I hate 'em. Please forgive me.
Oh, I don't think I ought to. Besides, no. Besides, all sorts of difficulties will arise. You know, my grandmother looks quite as young as my mother, and so do all my aunts.
Oh, well, I quite understand. Whenever I see you kissing a very young lady, I shall know that it's an elderly relative.
You will? Oh, then, Phyllis, we shall be very happy.
Oh, we shan't wait long.
No, we might change our mind. We'll get married first.
And change our minds afterwards?
That's the usual course. If we're weak enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by. For peers with blowing coffers press their offers, that is why I am sure we should not tarry ere we marry, you and I.
Enough to tarry ere we marry, you and I, with the more attractive maiden to a laden you may fly, so that we should be parted, broken-hearted, I should die. So
ere we marry you and I, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by, of the feelings I inspire, you may tire by and by, if we're weak enough to tarry, ere we marry you and I, of the feeling I inspire, you may tire by and by, so I think we will not tarry, ere we marry you and I, you and I, you and I.
Well, does your mother know, I mean, is she aware of our engagement?
She is, and thus she welcomes her daughter-in-law.
She kisses just like other people. But the Lord Chancellor!
Oh, I forgot about him. Mother, none can resist your fairy eloquence. You must go to him and plead for us.
No, impossible!
But our happiness, our very lives depend upon our obtaining his consent.
Oh, madam, you cannot refuse to do it!
You know not what you ask. The Lord Chancellor is my husband.
Your husband?
My husband. And your father.
Papa.
Well, but this would explain a great many things. Upon his learning that you are his son, all objections to our marriage would at once be removed.
Nay, he must never know. He believes me to have died childless, and dearly as I love him, I am bound under penalty of death not to undeceive him. But see, he comes! Quick, my pail!
Victory! Victory! Success has crowned my efforts, and I may consider myself engaged to Phyllis. At first I wouldn't hear of it. It was out of the question. But I took heart. I pointed out to myself that I was no stranger to myself, that in point of fact I had been personally acquainted with myself for some years. This had its effect. I admitted that I had watched my professional advancement with considerable interest, and I handsomely added that I yielded to no one in admiration for my private and professional virtues. This was a great point gained. I then endeavored to work upon my feelings. Conceive my joy when I distinctly perceived a tear glistening in my own eye. Eventually, after a severe struggle with myself, I reluctantly, most reluctantly, consented.
My lord, a suppliant at your feet I kneel. Oh, listen to a mother's fond appeal. Hear me tonight, I come in urgent need. 'Tis for my son,
fates decide. Learn thou that Phyllis is my promised bride.
My bride? No, no.
It shall be so. Those who would separate us, oh, betide.
I do, thy lips have spoken, I plead in vain. A vow already broken, I break again. For him, for her, for thee, I yield my life. Behold, it may not be. I am thy wife.
Iolanthe, thou livest.
I live. Now let me die. Once again thy vows are broken. Thou thyself thy doom hast spoken. Bow thyself to destiny. Death thy doom, and thou must die.
Hold! If Iolanthe must die, then so must we all. For as she has sinned, so have we.
What? We are all fairy duchesses, marchionesses, countesses, viscountesses, and baronesses.
It's our fault. They could not help themselves.
It seems they have helped themselves, and pretty freely, too. Well, you have all incurred death. But I can't slaughter the whole company. And yet, the law is clear. Every fairy must die who marries a mortal.
Allow me, as an old equity draftsman, to make a suggestion. The subtleties of the legal mind are equal to the emergency. The thing is really quite simple. The insertion of a single word will do it. Let it stand that every fairy shall die who don't marry a mortal. And there you are, out of your difficulty at once.
We like your humor. Very well. Private Willis.
Ma'am?
To save my life, it is necessary that I marry at once. How should you like to be a fairy guardsman?
Well, ma'am, I don't think much of the British soldier who wouldn't ill-convenience himself to save a beautiful lady in distress.
You are a brave fellow. And you, my lords, how say you? Will you join our ranks?
Well, now that the peers have been recruited entirely from persons of intelligence, I really do not see of what use we are down here. Do you, Iolanthe?
Oh, none whatever, George.
Good. Then away we go to fairyland. Soon as we may, off and away, we'll commence our journey airy. Happy are we, as you can see, everyone is now a fairy. Everyone is now a fairy. Oh, as a general rule we know, two strings go to every bow. Make up your minds that fate will bring, if you've two bows to every string. Oh, as a general rule we know, two strings go to every bow. Make up your minds that fate will bring, if you've two bows to every string.
Up in the sky, ever so high, pleasures come in endless series. We will arrange happy exchange, hands of peers for house of peers.
Peeries, 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 house of peers for house of peeries.
And each up the sky high, free from wars and chance awry. We'll be surely have you for on such a susceptible chance or more. Up in the air, sky high.